who asked no questions and expected no gratitude. It started small. 9 years ago, my mother called me crying. The mortgage was 3 months behind. She might lose the house. I had just gotten my first real job out of college, working as a financial analyst. I was making decent money. Not great, but decent. I wired her $4,000 that day without hesitation. She cried on the phone. She told me I was her hero. She told me she would pay me back within 6 months. That was 9 years ago. I have never seen a single dollar return. After that, the request became routine, monthly, expected. The mortgage payment became my responsibility, even though my name was not on the deed. The utilities became my problem, even though I lived 2 hours away in my own apartment. The property taxes became something I handled automatically because if I did not, the county would start foreclosure proceedings. Then there was my sister, Vanessa, 3 years younger than me, the golden child who could do no wrong. She had bounced from job to job for years, never holding anything steady, always blaming her bosses or her co-workers or the economy. But she always had a nice car, always had the latest phone, always went on vacation twice a year. I paid for most of it. Her car payment was $450 a month. Insurance was another $200. When she crashed her car last year, I covered the $8,000 deductible because her insurance had lapsed. She did not thank me. She complained that I took too long to send the money. My mother defended her constantly. Vanessa's going through a tough time. Vanessa just needs a little help. Vanessa's trying her best. Meanwhile, I was working 60-hour weeks, skipping vacations, living in a small, one-bedroom apartment so I could keep funding their lives. I did the math once. Over 9 years, I had sent them roughly $7,200 every single month. Some months more, never less. Mortgage, utilities, property taxes, car payments, insurance, credit card minimums, emergency repairs, medical bills, groceries when things were tight. I had become their entire financial infrastructure, and they hated me for it. Not openly, not directly, but I could feel it in every interaction. The way my mother sighed when I called, the way Vanessa rolled her eyes when I offered advice, the way family gatherings felt like I was crashing a party I was not supposed to attend. I was the man they called at 2 a.m. when the furnace broke, but I was not the man they invited to dinner just to catch up. I was not the son they bragged about. I was the resource they tapped when needed. Thanksgiving was always complicated. For years, I showed up with groceries, with wine, with pies from the expensive bakery my mother loved. I showed up on time. I stayed late to help clean. I smiled when Vanessa talked about her life like I was not the reason she had one. I nodded when my mother gave speeches about gratitude while never once looking at me. This Thanksgiving was supposed to be different. Not because I planned anything, but because I had started to notice things. Small things. The way they talked about me when they thought I could not hear. The group chat I was not included in. The family photos posted online where I was cropped out. I thought that was what family did. You showed up. You helped. You stayed quiet. You did not complain. I was wrong. The table was set beautifully. My mother had gone all out this year. Linen napkins, matching plates, candles that smelled like cinnamon and clove. The turkey sat in the center, golden and perfect. Around it were bowls of mashed potatoes, stuffing, cranberry sauce, green bean casserole, and a massive gravy boat filled to the brim. Vanessa was already seated when I arrived. She barely looked up from her phone. My mother hugged me briefly, then immediately asked if I had brought the wine she requested. I had, 3 bottles, expensive ones. Dinner started normally. My mother said grace. We passed dishes, forks clinked against plates. Conversation was surface level. The weather, the traffic. Vanessa's latest job interview that she claimed went really well. Then 20 minutes into the meal, Vanessa set down her fork and looked at me directly. I need your house keys, she said. I blinked. What? Your house keys. I need them. I put down my knife. Why would you need my house keys? She sighed like I was being difficult. I'm renovating my apartment. I need somewhere to store my furniture for 3 months. Your place is perfect. You barely use it anyway. I stared at her. My mind struggled to process what she had just said. She wanted to use my apartment as a storage unit. She wanted me to hand over my keys, give her access to my home, so she could fill it with her furniture while she renovated the apartment I was partially paying for. No, I said quietly. Her eyes narrowed. What do you mean, no? I mean no. You cannot use my apartment. Vanessa's face flushed red. Are you serious right now? It's just for a few months. It's not like you have anything important there. It's my home, Vanessa. I live there. You're being ridiculous. She looked at my mother. Mom, tell him. My mother dabbed her napkin at the corner of her mouth. She looked at me with that same tired expression she always wore when I disappointed her. Jordan, it would really help your sister out. It's just temporary. I said no. Vanessa's voice rose. You're such a selfish piece of work. After everything we've done for you. I almost laughed. After everything they had done for me. I wanted to pull out my phone and show her the bank statements, the transfer history, the 9 years of monthly payments. But I stayed quiet. I'm not giving you my keys, I said calmly. That was when she snapped. Vanessa grabbed the gravy boat. It was ceramic, heavy, filled with thick brown gravy that was still steaming. She stood up, her chair scraping loudly against the floor, and then she threw it. The bowl hit me square in the chest. Hot gravy exploded across my shirt, my face, my lap. It burned. Not enough to scar, but enough to hurt. The bowl clattered to the floor and shattered. Gravy dripped from my hair, my chin, my hands. The room went silent. I sat there stunned, gravy sliding down my face. I could feel the heat soaking through my shirt. I could smell the sage and butter and pepper. Vanessa was breathing hard, her face twisted in rage. You're a greedy little man, she screamed. A greedy, selfish little man. I looked at my mother. Surely she would say something. Surely she would stand up for me. Surely this was the line. My mother stood up slowly. She folded her napkin and placed it beside her plate. Then she looked at me, her voice cold and flat. Stop calling me your mom. The words hit harder than the gravy, harder than anything Vanessa had ever said, harder than 9 years of being ignored. If you can't help your own sister, if you can't be part of this family, then don't call me your mom anymore. I did not argue. I did not yell. I did not cry. I smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was not a sad smile. It was the smile of a man who had just realized he had been playing a game he could not win. A game where the rules changed every time he started to understand them. I stood up slowly. Gravy dripped onto the floor. I pulled out my phone, typed one message, and hit send. Lock every code. Tonight. Then I walked out of that house. I did not look back. I did not slam the door. I just left. 20 minutes later, the screaming started. The drive home was quiet. Too quiet. I could hear the hum of the engine, the rhythm of the tires against asphalt, the faint buzz of the heater trying to dry the gravy that had soaked through my shirt and into my skin. I did not turn on the radio. I did not call anyone. I just drove. My hands gripped the steering wheel tightly. My knuckles were white. I kept replaying the moment in my head. The bowl flying through the air. The explosion of hot gravy. Vanessa's voice screaming that I was greedy. My mother telling me not to call her mom anymore. Stop calling me your mom. Those words looped in my brain like a broken record. I had spent 32 years being her son. 32 years trying to earn her approval. 32 years funding her life, fixing her problems, showing up when she called. And in one sentence, she erased all of it. I thought about all the Thanksgivings before this one, the Christmases, the birthdays, the random Tuesday afternoons when she needed money wired before the bank closed. I thought about every time I had said yes when I wanted to say no. Every time I had smiled when I wanted to scream. I thought about Vanessa, the golden child who had never been held accountable for anything. The sister who crashed cars and quit jobs and burned bridges, but always landed softly because I was there to catch her. The sister who just threw a bowl of gravy at me and called me greedy. Greedy. I almost laughed. I had given them over $600,000 in 9 years. I had sacrificed vacations, relationships, opportunities. I had lived small so they could live large. And I was greedy. The text I sent was already working. I knew that. My financial manager, a woman named Patricia, who handled all my automated payments and standing authorizations, had received my message. She knew what lock every code meant. We had discussed it once, months ago, when I first started wondering what would happen if I ever pulled the plug. She told me it would take less than an hour to execute. Every auto pay, every authorized charge, every standing transfer, every credit card I had added as a backup payment method, every utility account where I was listed as the payer, every insurance policy, every mortgage payment, every subscription, every single financial thread that connected me to them would be severed. I knew what was happening right now. Automated emails were going out. Payment authorizations were being revoked. Credit cards were being removed from accounts. Auto pay schedules were being deleted. Bank transfers were being canceled. Within an hour, their entire financial ecosystem would collapse. I did not feel guilty. I did not feel sad. I felt numb, like I was watching someone else's life fall apart from a distance. The gravy on my shirt had started to harden. It smelled sour now. I could feel it sticking to my skin. I would need to throw this shirt away. There was no saving it. I thought about what my mother would say when the first payment bounced. I thought about Vanessa's face when her car insurance lapsed. I thought about the mortgage companies sending late notices, the utility companies issuing disconnection warnings, the credit card companies freezing accounts. I thought about all of it, and I felt nothing. By the time I pulled into my apartment parking lot, my phone was already lighting up. Text messages, missed calls, voicemails. I did not check them. I knew what they said. I walked into my apartment, locked the door behind me, and stood in the silence. For the first time in 9 years, I was not waiting for the next request. I was not bracing for the next emergency. I was not planning how to cover the next bill. I was free, and it felt like drowning and breathing at the same time. I sat on my couch for a long time that night, staring at the wall. The gravy-stained shirt was in the trash. I had showered, changed into clean clothes, but I could still smell it, still feel the heat of it hitting my chest. My phone kept buzzing. I turned it face down on the coffee table and let it vibrate itself into silence. I thought about how I got here, how I became the family ATM. It did not happen overnight. It happened slowly. So slowly that I did not notice until it was too late. It started when I was 16. My father had left 3 years earlier, just walked out one day and never came back. No explanation, no goodbye, just gone. My mother was devastated. She cried for months. She stopped cooking, stopped cleaning, stopped caring. Vanessa was 13 then. She handled it by becoming louder, more demanding. She threw tantrums when she did not get what she wanted. She screamed that it was not fair, that she hated everything. My mother let her. My mother gave her whatever she asked for because she felt guilty. I handled it by becoming quieter. I got a part-time job at a grocery store. I saved money. I helped with bills when I could. I became the dependable one because someone had to be. When I turned 18, I won a partial scholarship to college. It covered tuition, but not housing or books. I worked 2 jobs to pay for the rest. I sent money home when my mother called and said they were short on rent. I did not mind. I thought that was what you did for family. Vanessa got into college too, but she dropped out after 1 semester. She said it was boring. She said the professors were terrible. She said she would figure things out on her own. My mother did not push her. She just nodded and said Vanessa needed time to find herself. I graduated with honors, got a job, got promoted, started making real money. And the requests from my mother increased. At first it was just the mortgage, then it was utilities, then it was property taxes, then it was Vanessa's car, then it was credit card minimums, then it was groceries, then it was medical bills, then it was everything. I kept a spreadsheet for a while. I tracked every dollar, every wire transfer, every Venmo payment, every check I mailed. The numbers climbed higher every year. Year 1, $42,000. Year 2, $61,000. Year 3, $78,000. By year 9, I was sending them over $86,000 a year. More than most people made in salary. I was funding 2 people's entire lives while living in a small apartment and driving a 10-year-old car. And they resented me for it. I remember one Christmas when Vanessa opened a gift I had bought her. It was a nice necklace. Not cheap, but not extravagant. She looked at it, then looked at me and said, "This is it." I remember my mother's 50th birthday. I could not make it to the party because I was working. I sent flowers and a card with $500 inside. She called me later and said it would have meant more if I had just shown up. I showed up to everything after that. Every birthday, every holiday, every random Sunday brunch. I showed up and smiled and nodded and paid for things and stayed quiet. Because I thought that was what family did. I thought if I just gave enough, helped enough, showed up enough, I would eventually be seen, be valued, be loved. But you cannot buy love. You cannot earn respect by being useful. You cannot force people to care about you by making yourself indispensable. All you can do is make yourself easy to exploit. And I had made it so easy. They showed up on Saturday, 2 days after Thanksgiving. I heard the pounding on my door before I saw them. Loud, angry, desperate pounding. I looked through the peephole. Vanessa and my mother stood in the hallway. Vanessa's face was red. My mother looked exhausted. I opened the door but did not invite them in. I stood in the doorway blocking the entrance. "We need to talk," my mother said. "No, we do not," I replied calmly. Vanessa pushed forward. "You can't just cut us off like this. Do you have any idea what you've done?" "Yes, I stopped paying for your lives." Her mouth fell open. "Our lives? You think we need you? You think we can't survive without you?" "I know you cannot." My mother stepped in, her voice shaking. "Jordan, please, let's talk about this like adults. Whatever happened on Thanksgiving, we can work through it." "There is nothing to work through. The mortgage payment bounced," she said quietly. "The bank called. They said the autopay was canceled. The utilities are being shut off next week. Vanessa's car insurance lapsed. We need you to fix this." I looked at her for a long moment. "No. No." Vanessa's voice rose. "What do you mean, no?" "I mean, I am done. I am done paying your mortgage. I am done covering your bills. I am done funding a family that does not want me in it." My mother's eyes filled with tears. "You are being childish. You are punishing us over one argument." "One argument?" I laughed. It was a cold, bitter sound. "You told me to stop calling you my mom. You stood there while Vanessa threw hot gravy at me and said nothing. You have spent 9 years treating me like a bank account. This is not about one argument. This is about 9 years of being invisible." Vanessa sneered. "You're so dramatic. We never treated you badly. You're just bitter because you're not the favorite." "You are right," I said. "I am not the favorite. I never was. And I am done trying to be." My mother reached out like she was going to touch my arm, but I stepped back. "Jordan, please, we will apologize. We will make it right. Just turn the payments back on." "No, you cannot do this to us." "I already did." Vanessa's voice turned vicious. "You are going to regret this. When we lose the house, when my car gets repossessed, when everything falls apart, it will be your fault. Everyone will know what you did." I looked at her calmly. "Good. Let them know. Let everyone know that I spent 9 years paying for your life while you treated me like garbage. Let everyone know that you threw a bowl of gravy at me because I would not give you my house keys. Let everyone know exactly who you are." My mother was crying now. Real tears. "Please, Jordan, we are family. You told me I was not. You told me to stop calling you my mom. So I did." I stepped back into my apartment. "Do not come here again. Do not call. Do not text. We are done." I closed the door. They stood in the hallway pounding and yelling for another 5 minutes. Then they left. I sat on my couch and listened to the silence. It was the most peaceful sound I had ever heard. Sunday evening, I sat at my desk and pulled up every document I had, every receipt, every bank statement, every transfer confirmation, every email where my mother asked for money, every text where Vanessa demanded I cover something. I had kept everything. Not intentionally at first, just habit. I was good with records. I liked having proof of payments. I liked knowing exactly where my money went. Now those records were weapons. I opened a spreadsheet and started inputting data. Date, amount, purpose, response time. I created columns for mortgage payments, utility bills, property taxes, car payments, insurance, credit cards, groceries, medical expenses, emergency repairs, vacations, gifts, and miscellaneous. The numbers were staggering. In 9 years, I had sent them $673,000. Not an estimate. Exactly $673,000. I had documentation for every single cent. I pulled up the mortgage records. My mother's house was worth maybe $300,000. The remaining mortgage balance was $190,000. I had paid over $200,000 toward that mortgage, more than the house was worth. I pulled up Vanessa's car records. She had gone through 3 cars in 9 years. I had paid for all of them. Down payments, monthly payments, insurance, repairs, registrations, total $68,000. Utilities over 9 years, $41,000. Property taxes, $37,000. Credit card payments, $92,000. The list went on and on and on. I created a summary document. Clean, professional, detailed. I included screenshots of every bank transfer, copies of every email request, text message threads where they begged and I complied, voicemail transcripts where my mother cried and I sent money within the hour. I was not doing this to shame them. I was doing this to protect myself because I knew what was coming. I knew they would tell people I abandoned them. I knew they would paint me as the villain. I knew they would twist the story until I was the bad guy. So I built my defense. I printed everything. 3 copies, one for me, one for my lawyer, one locked in a safe deposit box. Then I did something I had been avoiding. I called my financial manager, Patricia. I need you to document everything, I told her. Every auto pay we canceled, every authorization we revoked, every account we closed. I need timestamps. I need confirmation numbers. I need a paper trail that shows exactly when and how I stopped payments. She was quiet for a moment. Jordan, are you sure about this? Yes. They are going to fight back. They're going to make this ugly. I know. Okay, I will have everything ready by tomorrow. I hung up and opened my email. There were 43 unread messages, most from my mother, some from Vanessa, a few from extended family members I had not heard from in years. I read them all. I did not respond. I just read. My mother's emails started apologetic. She was sorry. She did not mean what she said. She loved me. She needed me. Please turn the payments back on. Please. By the 10th email, the tone changed. She was angry. How could I do this to her? How could I be so cruel? Did I want her to be homeless? Did I want Vanessa's car repossessed? Was I really that heartless? Vanessa's emails were pure venom. She called me every name she could think of. She said I was pathetic. She said I was a loser who bought affection because no one could love me. She said I would die alone and no one would care. The extended family emails were the most interesting. Cousins I had not spoken to in 5 years suddenly cared deeply about family unity. Aunts who had never invited me to their homes suddenly thought I should be more forgiving. Uncles who had never called me suddenly had opinions about my responsibilities. I saved every email, backed them up, organized them by date and sender. Then I drafted one response. I sent it to everyone. I have decided to discontinue financial support. This decision is final. Do not contact me again. Short, clean, final. I hit send and watched the emails go out. Then I blocked every number, every email address, every social media account. I was done explaining myself. I was done defending my choices. I was done being the bad guy in someone else's story. I was just done. The collapse happened faster than I expected. Day 3, the mortgage payment bounced. The bank sent an automated notice, late fee applied. My mother called the bank screaming that there had been a mistake. The bank told her the auto pay had been canceled by the account holder. She called me 17 times. I did not answer. Day 5, the electric company sent a disconnection notice. Payment was 10 days overdue. Vanessa posted on social media that she was dealing with a family emergency and needed prayers. 3 people sent her money through Venmo. It was not enough to cover the bill. Day 7, Vanessa's car insurance lapsed. She did not know until she got pulled over for a broken taillight. The officer ran her information. No insurance. He impounded her car on the spot. She called me from the side of the road, sobbing, begging me to fix it. I let it go to voicemail. Day 9. The water was shut off. My mother tried to pay the reconnection fee with a credit card. Declined. She tried another card. Declined. She tried a third card. Declined. All 3 cards had been tied to my accounts as backup payment methods. All 3 had been removed. She posted in the neighborhood Facebook group asking if anyone knew a good plumber, because her water was not working. Someone replied that it was probably a billing issue, not a plumbing issue. She deleted the post. Day 12. The first foreclosure notice arrived. The mortgage was now 30 days past due. The bank sent a formal letter outlining the timeline: 60 days to cure the default, 90 days to foreclosure auction. My mother scanned the letter and texted it to me with one word: please. I did not respond. Day 14. Vanessa's car was auctioned by the impound lot. She did not have the money to get it out. She posted a long rant on social media about how the system was designed to destroy people, about how one mistake should not ruin your life, about how families should support each other. She did not mention that the mistake was throwing a bowl of gravy at her brother. She did not mention that the family who should have supported her had been living off that brother for 9 years. Day 16, the gas was shut off. November was cold. The house had no heat. My mother bought 2 space heaters with money she borrowed from a neighbor. The electric bill doubled. She could not pay it. Day 18, property tax notices arrived. The county sent a reminder that the annual payment was due in 30 days. $8,000. My mother had $17 in her checking account. Day 21. Vanessa moved in with a friend. She took what she could fit in a borrowed car. She left everything else. My mother called her ungrateful. Vanessa called her suffocating. They screamed at each other in the driveway while neighbors watched. Day 24. The Homeowners Association sent a violation notice. The lawn had not been mowed in weeks. The mailbox was broken. The exterior paint was peeling. Fines would be assessed if not corrected within 14 days. My mother typed out a long email to me. She said she was sorry. She said she had been wrong. She said she loved me. She said she needed me. She said Vanessa was sorry too, even though Vanessa had not said that. She said if I would just turn the payments back on, everything could go back to normal. I read the email 3 times, then I deleted it. Day 27. My mother tried to refinance the house. She called 4 different lenders. All of them pulled her credit report. All of them saw the missed payments, the foreclosure notice, the maxed out credit cards, the collections accounts. All of them declined. Day 30. The electricity was shut off. The house went dark. My mother sat in the cold in the silence, with no water, no heat, no light. She called me one last time. I answered. "Turn it back on," she whispered. "Please, I am begging you. Turn it back on." I took a breath. "You told me to stop calling you my mom, so I did. And moms do not beg strangers for help." I hung up. 3 days later, she moved into Vanessa's friend's apartment, a 1-bedroom with 3 people. They fought constantly. The friend kicked them out after 2 weeks. I heard through a cousin that they were staying in a motel, paying by the week, running out of money, running out of options. I did not reach out. I did not send help. I did not feel guilty. I felt free. 2 months after Thanksgiving, I signed the lease on a new condo. Bigger, nicer, closer to work, floor-to-ceiling windows, a view of the city, 2 bedrooms even though I lived alone. One for me, one for the life I was building. I furnished it slowly, carefully. I bought a real couch. Not the cheap one I had been using for years. I bought art for the walls. I bought plants. I bought things that made me happy instead of things that were practical. I started saying yes to things I had always said no to: dinner with coworkers, weekend trips, a gym membership, a nicer car, small luxuries that I had denied myself for 9 years because I was too busy funding someone else's life. I started therapy, twice a week at first, then once a week. My therapist asked me why I had stayed so long, why I had given so much to people who gave nothing back. I did not have a good answer, just that I thought that was what family meant, that I thought love required sacrifice, that I thought if I gave enough, I would eventually be enough. She told me that love is not supposed to hurt, that family is not supposed to drain you, that sacrifice should be mutual, not one-sided. It took me weeks to believe her, but eventually I did. I kept the spreadsheet, the receipts, the evidence. Not because I planned to use it, but because I needed to remember. I needed proof that I had not imagined it, that I had not exaggerated, that I really had given $673,000 to people who threw gravy at me and told me I was greedy. I heard updates occasionally, through cousins, through social media, through the grapevine. My mother lost the house. It sold at auction for $210,000. The bank took what they were owed. She walked away with nothing. Vanessa bounced between friends' couches for a while. Then she moved 3 states away, got a job at a call center, stopped posting on social media. They never apologized. They never admitted they were wrong. They just disappeared from my life like I had disappeared from theirs. And I was okay with that. I did not need an apology. I did not need closure in the form of their regret. I had closure in the form of my own peace. I started dating someone in January, a woman I met at a coffee shop. She asked me about my family on our 3rd date. I told her the truth. All of it. The 9 years, the payments, the gravy, the cutoff. She was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "That must have been really hard." It was the first time anyone had acknowledged that. The first time anyone had seen me as the person who had been hurt, not the person who had done the hurting. I realized I had been waiting for my mother to say that, for Vanessa to say that, for someone in my family to see my pain and validate it. But they never would, and I did not need them to anymore. On the anniversary of that Thanksgiving, I sat on my balcony with a glass of wine and watched the sunset. I thought about where I had been a year ago, covered in gravy, heartbroken, invisible, and I thought about where I was now, free, independent, respected, empowered. I raised my glass to the sky. "To me," I whispered, "for finally choosing me." The sun dipped below the horizon. The city lights flickered on, and I sat there alone in the most peaceful silence I had ever known. I was not the family ATM anymore. I was not the invisible provider. I was not the doormat. I was just Jordan, and that was enough.